Hello, book besties. Author Brianna Sanchez here, your next favorite romance author. Today we have a very fun video for you guys. If you haven't already seen by the title, I'm going to be reading you my 1-star reviews. As an author, it is very traumatizing and nerve-wracking to be putting your work out there. You know, not everyone's gonna like it, and I knew that going into it. Honestly, it's never something that's bothered me. I'm very, very lucky to have the mother I did growing up. She gave me lots of confidence. I've always found myself to be beautiful no matter what size I am. Even when people didn't like me and have told me to my face, like, yeah, I've always had those moments where I feel insecure, but for the most part, I've been a pretty secure person my whole life, and I'm so thankful for that, especially thankful for my mom raising me that way. But anyways, I really wanted to share with you guys my 1-star reviews just so we could get a little laugh because I think it's funny sometimes the audacity people have to like write some of this stuff because maybe they think like the author is not going to see it, and just so you know, we do. That being said, like, don't stop leaving bad reviews. You know, you have freedom to write your opinion on there, and that's such a beautiful thing that we live in a world where you do have the freedom to do that. I am very glad that people leave me such honest reviews, honestly, because I wouldn't want them all to be nice. I would want someone to tell me if they didn't like something, you know, if they felt like I could do better with something, and that's just the only way I'm gonna learn. So I'm super grateful to everyone that has left me a review, that has taken the time to read my work. I want to preface this video by saying that I cannot thank you guys enough. I would not be able to be doing what I am without you and be able to like continue growing my name as an author. So thank you guys. I'm seriously super grateful for that. Without further ado, let's get into the reviews because I think this is gonna be a funny one. So I'm gonna start off by reading my 1-star reviews, but I do know that I have a couple 2-star reviews that are pretty funny, so I want to add those in there as well. I guess let's just get into it. So I am on Goodreads. This is for Falling For You, by the way. So on Goodreads for Falling For You, I have 69 ratings and 56 reviews, which is seriously amazing. Like, I can't even believe that many people have read my work, plus more because not everyone leaves reviews, but I can't believe that many people have left me a review, and I've only had Falling For You out for 4 months. So I'm seriously so grateful. The first review we have, they didn't even leave me a star. They said that they DNF'd this at 50%. This book was just not for me personally. The writing isn't bad and definitely has potential. I really do think that with time and more books written, this author's writing will improve too. There were some pacing issues for me, and I wasn't a huge fan of the characters themselves. The romance developed a bit too quickly for my taste. Overall, this is a solid debut. It just didn't match up with my particular taste. Thank you to the author for a copy of this book in exchange for an honest review. So that's what I mean. Like, this was someone that I sent the book to, and I'm not even mad that she left me an honest review because that's her honest opinion. I would not want her to lie. I'm happy she left me that. Like I said, this is not going to be for everyone. I cannot appeal to every single person in the world. So the fact that she just didn't like it, that's totally fine. And she even said, like, there was potential, so it's not really that bad of a review, to be honest. So this review left me 2 stars. She DNF'd it at 26%. She rated Genevieve as a character 2 stars and Aspen 3 stars. Likes, I thought that this book had a cute premise based off the blurb, and as I started reading, I liked learning about the 2 different types of characters, flawed in very different ways, and was eager to see how they meshed. Dislikes? Oh, the list goes on. Genevieve, it didn't take me long for me to genuinely dislike her character. The way I've heard that so many times, like, nobody likes Genevieve, and it makes me so sad because I'm like, I love her, and I put so many like aspects of me into her that I'm like, okay, maybe it's because I'm older now, but she was way too immature, self-absorbed, and overprivileged for my taste. I had hoped to experience meaningful character growth for her, which there may be at the end of the book, but I didn't stick around to find out, which is exactly what I mean. Like, she didn't stick around to find out the character growth because she could have really loved Genevieve. Like, I've heard so many people say, like, I hated her at first and then I loved her, and that's the whole point of a character arc. Overall writing, I read this is an arc from an indie author, and I'm saying this with the view of an editor and hoping that she understands. The writing does need work. The dialogue, the descriptions, the pacing of the plot, the mechanical errors, just for the first quarter of the book that I read, it all needs polishing. The story has potential, but the execution falls short. It's okay. I understand some people that read literally edit books for a living. Character chemistry. I personally am not a fan of insta-lust, but that's not where the issue is for me. If there is insta-lust, there needs to be undeniable chemistry between the characters, which I think was lacking, given that I didn't expect the spice to happen so quickly either, and it felt awkward to me in the moment. There was no time for them to even get to know each other, form a real spark and connection before they became intimate. And the spicy scene that I read just didn't feel right. Overall, unfortunately, with the issues I just described, I had a difficult time connecting with the story and couldn't continue on. But I do appreciate the author giving me the opportunity to read her story, and I encourage her to keep at it. All right, guys, we're moving on. Oh my gosh, okay, so this is the 2-star review that I was saying was like god awful. So, but just look how long it is, and that's not even all of it. Like, and I'm gonna read all of it. I'm sorry, because this is so funny. Like, when I was reading it, I was humbled for sure. I was like, wow, you really hated my book. Okay, so this is someone else, like, I asked to read my book. Okay, so she rated it 2 stars, which I was surprised because it did not sound like she liked it enough to rate it 2 stars. I need to be honest, no matter how bad I feel rating an aspiring author's work so low, but the writing was incredibly immature / juvenile. I hope her writing will get better as it goes along. This is only her first book, but there were so many times I rolled my eyes, so many times I cringed, so many times I was fully thrown out of immersion because of poor writing. For example, I'm all about insta love stories, but I cannot stand when they continue to say things like, I've never seen her wear her hair like that, and he's not like that kind of guy. Like, how do you know? You met them like yesterday. But I don't know, in my head it just worked. Here are my real-time notes / thoughts while reading, which I kept in my notes app. Like, isn't that crazy? I'm sorry, but that's just one thing that I was like, wow, like, you really hated my book, or you just like really needed to get out everything. And it kind of like makes me sad sometimes because I'm like, I would never do that for someone. Like, keep real time thoughts. I don't know. Maybe she thought they were going to be good thoughts. First one is, I kind of hate Jen, lol. Next one, there's a fine line between storytelling and over-explaining. Example, he moves onto my tight long sleeve, slipping it over my head. Once it's over, my tits break free. They are out and exposed, no longer held by my tight fabric. Okay, I just need you to understand that we don't need 3 sentences to explain he took your shirt off, girl. It's just so funny because it's like, I don't know. I don't even know how to answer that. Okay. Next one. Fairly early on in the story, we hear Jen says she knows Aspen likes her for more than her body. Aspen confirms it a few chapters later, calling her intelligent, the smartest woman in any room she entered. But up until that point, we as readers haven't read a single actual conversation between them. Weird plot hole to go so deep into multiple rounds of sex by this point, but not let us peek into any sort of conversation held by them that would make Jen seem intelligent, would make her seem like he actually likes her for more than her body. You know, it's just like so hard as an author when it's like you think something is there, but because you're like reading and writing it so many times that it's just not. Next one. Seriously, could have done without the coke use. That's a hot take because obviously that makes his whole character arc. Next one. Hard nipples count. 7. Now that's where I started giggling. I was like, you counted how many times I wrote that? Okay, next. Talking about your brother saying his name during sex. Okay, that is so out of context. If you haven't read the book, I felt like that was such a hot and different thing to say. There's only so many ways, or there are so many ways you can rewrite sex. You don't want your sex scenes as an author to be boring to people. So I'm trying to come out with like out of the box things. That is something that could very realistically happen. So if you guys have read it, tell me your thoughts. We get it. He's so big. That doesn't add literally anything to spice. Honestly, it kind of ruins it, lol. That's also a hot take. Not gonna say anything about that. Why is this boy acting so surprised, saying things like, I've never seen her wear her hair like this before, and I just didn't know she knew how to cook. Like, boy, that's because you were only around her for literally 3 days. That concludes that review. Yeah, that was a really funny one for me because I actually was like really excited to send this person my book because I had followed them for like 3+ years. And so to hear that, I was like a little disappointed. But at the same time, like, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. Like, I am never mad at her for writing that review or for being honest with her thoughts. I just kind of found it funny. Luckily, there aren't like too many 1 stars as like I'm scrolling through it. Yeah, there's another one that's just like she DNF'd it at page 124 because she didn't like to talk about drug abuse, which is fair. Like the first book, I accidentally, well, not accidentally, like I didn't know this at the time, but I did not put trigger warning at the beginning of the book. And that's just because like I didn't put a trigger warning at the beginning of the book. And that's because I just didn't think that was necessary. I have had a lot of people like ask me what's in the book. And so I learned now that that's something like people prefer to have in a book so that they can know going into it. And so I have now done that for my future books. Like I did that for book 2 and it's out, and I will continue to do that for all my future books. I just didn't do that for book 1. Thank you to the author for providing me with an arc in exchange for an honest review. I always love supporting indie authors, and while this book wasn't quite a hit for me, I can definitely see the potential. So it's still nice, they're still nice about it. This was a very quick and easy read, and I really liked the overall plot. One of my favorite parts was the friendship. It was refreshing to see such a supportive, kind of genuine female friendship. Some parts of the story felt a bit repetitive, and a few phrases came across childish for my personal taste. I also had a hard time fully connecting with the characters as they felt a bit underdeveloped. Insta love isn't usually my thing, though I understand why it is used here. The pacing was a little uneven at times, moving quickly in some places and slowing down in others. That said, for a debut novel, this was a solid start, and there's a lot of room for growth. I truly believe the author has something here, and I was curious to see how her writing envelops in the future books. I appreciate being given the opportunity to read this arc. So again, another good review. Honestly, something I can say about my 1 and 2 star reviews is they're very descriptive, and that's amazing because they didn't like it for a reason, but they're also still giving me a chance. They're also still telling me that my writing does have the potential for improvement, and that is awesome to hear because then you see reviews on like very big authors. Like I said some of them before, like Colleen Hoover, her latest release, it was so funny reading them. It was like woman for the book Woman Down. They're like, woman, put the pen down. And I'm just like, oh. All right, here's another one that wasn't starred. She DNF'd it at 30%. I was really hoping to love this book, but it ended up not being for me. I had a hard time connecting with the characters' personalities, and I overall found myself not very excited to continue reading. I'll probably give this book another shot eventually, but right now I'm not loving it. Thank you to Brianna for sending me a copy in exchange for an honest review. I'm excited for what she does next. And I'm like surprised that she's still going to give it another chance. It's actually crazy how many people have DNF'd this. Thank you to the author for an e-copy of this book in exchange for an honest review. Unfortunately, I had to DNF at 20%. I almost never read romance, but figured I would give this one a try. The plot itself was a cute idea, and I was intrigued by the setting because I live in Colorado, but the writing is very juvenile and the dialogue is kind of cringy and unrealistic. Found it hard to engage with. I'm sure this book will land better with other readers, but it just was not for me. I wanted to like this book. I could not get into the story or form any attachment to the characters. There was way too much spice for my taste, which ruined the book for me. I felt like the main character was immature and self-centered. This is a hard read, and to be honest, I couldn't finish it. While this may not have been my particular taste, I could see some readers who could enjoy this. Let's just keep moving on, guys. I feel like I'm just like beating myself up. No, that's it. No, I'm just kidding. Let's go to Fable now. So yeah, that's pretty much all the 1-star reviews I have on Goodreads. The only other 1 and 2-star I have is just a rating. So I have 2 2-stars and 1 1-star. All right, now let's hop over to Fable. Okay, so this one this one has like this review that I've just always seen when I open up Fable, and I'm like, that is probably one of my worst reviews. I don't know. It's not my worst, but it has the emoji that's like, why did I just read this? So she rated it 1 star. She said, I honestly feel so bad that I didn't like this, but it was just not good. That is like, every time I see it, I'm like, wow, that's like, it is at the top of the list when you open up my Fable reviews. Maybe it's the fact that I'm not into romance, but the dialogue read super unnatural and the couple fell in love within 2 days. I'm more of a slow burn gal, but that was insane to me. I'm also not into smut either. I know it's a debut and hopefully the author improves. So then obviously like some of my other reviews have transferred over here from Goodreads, so I'm skipping those. But besides that, I have 1 2-star review. There's no explanation, and then another 1-star review. So yeah, that's really it. I have not as many reviews on Fable. And then Amazon, they're all honestly really good. I don't think I have even a 1-star on Amazon yet. But anyways, that's those are my bad reviews, guys. Oh my gosh, it's so funny reading that, and I just like wanted to have a laugh with you guys. Sometimes we just need to be real. Sometimes I need to be humbled. Like, I am not a New York Times best-selling author, but I strive to be one, and hopefully I will be one day. And those reviews are definitely not going to stop me. So if another author is looking at this, don't let any bad reviews stop you. I've had a lot of aspiring authors reach out to me and tell me like they're just so nervous to publish their work because of what people will think. And that is like the worst thing you could ever do to yourself. Don't ever hold yourself back, because no matter what, people are going to hate it. Like, seriously, people are just going to hate it, and that sucks. But it also is a good thing, because those reviews are still boosting up my name. People still left videos about them online. And one thing is, like, there are still going to be people that hear the description of it and are still going to want to read it no matter what the person read it. Because I've said this before, Sarah Caroli is so good at describing her books on her channel that I tend to still want to read a book that she puts on there no matter what she rates it, because of the description. I'm like, just because she didn't like it doesn't mean I'm not going to like it. And so that's all I have to say for today. And thanks, guys. Thanks for leaving me a review. Please go leave me one if you haven't already. And if you haven't read my books already, please go read those. I should have had a copy of Falling for You with me, but whatever, I'll put it here. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what other reviews I get left. I try and read them all the time. Like, I look weekly to see if there's like any new reviews on there. Yeah, thanks for watching this video, guys.